You can make a difference. You can give hope to a child. You can change a life. And that is no small change.
Welcome to another episode of One on One. My name is David Stahl.
And I'm Chris Reinsma. And Dave, today we get to talk about, I think, a very timely and important topic. We want to talk about safety and healthy relationships, safety in the relationships and health in the relationships. Why is that so important, do you think?
Well, Chris, really there's three reasons why this is a very important topic for us to cover. The first one is the most obvious one, and that is we want to keep the kids safe.
Absolutely.
It's for their welfare. You know, there are several best practices out there in child safety that we can apply to our mentoring program that will keep kids safe. And let's face it, we have a vulnerable group of kids that we serve. Our high priority has to be to keep them safe. So that's reason number one.
Right.
Reason number two is those same best practices, Chris, will protect mentors and churches from false accusations. Because let's face it, those happen. And there's insinuations about what might have occurred. You follow some best practices, though, and you don't have to worry about a legal problem, a reputation problem, anything like that.
Yeah, and I think sometimes mentors forget that they don't remember that the safety protocols are there as much for them as they are for the kids.
It's two-way protection, that's for sure. And the third reason, Chris, is for just the overall confidence and trust that others have in our program. Because let's face it, there's a school full of people watching our program.
Absolutely.
The community is watching. Families are watching. Everybody's looking at us. And when we implement these best practices for child safety, we'll have a reputation for having a safe program.
Yes.
And it's a reputation that mentors and directors have earned over years and years and years of great work. But it's worth reviewing some of those principles so that we can continue to do a great job.
Right.
So, Chris, let's dive into the specifics. Where are some of the places, the settings, where we need to have safety in mind?
Well, the first place that you want to be thinking about safety, yours and your mentees, is going to be the school itself where the mentoring is taking place. So you always want to be sure that you're mentoring in a place in the school that's in public view. So a lot of times it's the library, it's the cafeteria, might be a hallway. Anytime that you're in a place that's more isolated, that's where there's a little bit of risk, and we don't want to put you or your child at risk. So make sure that you're always in a space where there's an open door to a classroom, there's a window where people can see you. Those are the kind of spaces that you want to be in when you're at school. Now, the other place that you may interact with your student would be at an event. Your program may be hosting an event, a bowling party or an end-of-year party or whatever it might be. Make sure that you're always thinking about safety in those settings. So you're always going to be with another non-related adult. Okay, let's say that you're, for instance, having to get kids to an event. You're going to want to make sure that you're with another non-related adult if you're going to be picking them up. Okay, you're never alone with that child. And the same thing is even true at the event, that you're not isolating yourself at this event. One example might be your child has to go to the bathroom, at the bowling party or whatever it might be. You know what? You're going to go ahead and walk them to the bathroom, okay? But then you're gonna stand outside the single bathroom, let them go in, take care of what they need to take care of, and come back out. But you're never putting yourself in a position where somebody could make an accusation or you're basically calling suspicion to some activity, because there's always that other adult that's with you and or around, and you're in those public spaces.
And it might not be a bad idea on this whole bathroom thing, because there's a lot at stake in the bathrooms. Before you let your child go in there, pop your head in the door to see what's going on.
Make sure that there's nobody in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So there's certainly a lot of things that happen in terms of places, but Dave, there's other things that we want to talk about too that are best practices. How about the way that a mentor should interact with a child? And I'm talking a lot about here, like physical touch.
Right. I think one of the best guidelines is a simple one. As much as possible, keep your hands off the kids. Okay. Now, I know that's not always possible, because some of our kids and mentors enjoy these great relationships.
Absolutely.
And, you might hug your child, high five and all that. That stuff's okay. That,
Very
it's-
appropriate.
yeah, it's very appropriate. With the hugs, I'd say let the child initiate the hug. That would be the best thing. But a high five, a fist bump, shaking hands, doing all that stuff, definitely do all that. What gets a little bit dicey, though, is when you start having a lot of physical contact with a child. You need to pay attention to that, because what happens is that kids, especially younger age kids, they express affection with physical contact. Okay, you're right on the edge there of having some suspicion when you have a lot of physical contact. Now, that does not mean that you don't love the kids
Right.
if you don't have physical contact. What I'm saying is be very aware of what this could look like to somebody who has no idea what your relationship with the child is like, and also keep in mind that the child is not necessarily thinking about child safety,
Right.
and it wants to express affection. You need to back away from that as much as you can while still maintaining a good solid
Yeah,
relationship.
like an example would be a younger child, a kindergarten first grader who wants to sit in your lap during the reading time.
Yeah.
Probably not a great idea.
No,
That may
not a good idea.
may happen with a parent at home, but we're not the parents, and this is a different relationship, so we have to really be aware of things like that.
Right, and a child who wants to come and wrestle with you and all that. No, don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Play soccer instead.
Right.
Do something else. But again, as much as you can avoid physical contact, you'll preserve safety. So Chris, give us another one, because I know we brainstormed a few of these.
Yeah, the other thing that you'll see happening to you mentors out there is that your director is probably asking kids questions about how the mentoring is going, asking the kids where they're meeting at school and what are you doing during the mentoring hour, and that director is probably asking you questions too about how things are going. Those are two other things that they're doing to keep people safe, to make sure that maybe mentors aren't meeting in a space in the school where they shouldn't be, and sometimes just a lapse in judgment. So we're trying to pick up on these things both from the kids' perspective and the mentor's perspective. So they're going to be collecting information, and again, it's not kind of the big brother I'm watching you, but we're just trying to keep everybody in safe places and spaces and making sure that this is a healthy relationship for all parties. And so those interview questions are a normal part of every program. So if you're asked them as mentors, or if your director's pulling your kid aside to ask them some questions, that's a normal part of what we want to be doing.
Right.
Absolutely. Dave, how about these criminal history checks that get done, and why would they? Do we just have to do them once, or might there be multiple ones along the way?
Well, I tell you what, Chris, and this is where we are going to get a little big brotherish as far as tapping into databases. Initially, when somebody comes on board as a mentor or as a volunteer in any capacity, there's a criminal background check that's done. It's okay from time to time to start checking all the different registries. There's state registries and all that. And from time to time, maybe on an annual basis as a director, just going through and running your names through it, or just looking at the list of registry of offenders in your area, all that. Not because you suspect anybody's there, but it's a good practice just to keep fluent with all of the background check database information that's out there.
Right.
Because, boy, I tell you what, things change over the course of a year. And you need to be vigilant in keeping up with the information that is available,
Right.
so that you're protecting the kids, you're protecting the program, you're protecting everybody. Just
Yeah.
takes a little time to do those checks.
And Dave, I know that a lot of school districts and even different states, different laws are getting passed all the time
Yeah.
about how often these criminal history checks have to be done. And so sometimes you may come into a program under one set of guidelines and those change. And so then the school may be requiring criminal history checks every year. So again, mentors, don't feel like this is directed against you, but this just may be policies that the school district has now, because they're concerned about child safety as well.
Absolutely. It's a good practice.
It's good. Well, Dave, we're coming to that time in our one-on-one where we get to do something pretty fun.
All right.
And you know what that is, and I know what that is, but we always try to explain it. So
Yep. Here's what we're going to do. Chris, we're going to select a program here, one program from across the country. If we select your program in just a moment, what we want you to do is call us And what I mean by calling this is call us by March 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and you'll collect a prize. And Chris, the prize that this lucky winner is going to have is going to be a $100 gift certificate to the Kids Hope USA online store. So you can buy all sorts of apparel and other Kids Hope supplies there. But what else? There's one other bonus gift we're going to give them this time.
Dave, it's kind of exciting because they also get a copy of your new book.
That's right. We're going to send you, the director who calls us from this program, a copy of my new book. It's called Lessons Kids Need to Learn. It's written for parents, for mentors, and for educators. Hopefully you'll like the book. But Chris, don't keep us waiting any longer. Who is the Lucky Program?
The Lucky Program this week is Calvary Chapel of Elk Grove Village in Schaumburg, Illinois. And Robin is the director there. So Robin, give us a call, or if you know Robin, make sure that she knows to give us a call so that she can get her prize from the Kids Hope USA store and a copy of Dave's new book.
Congratulations, Robin. We look forward to hearing from you.
Dave, today was a really important topic, talking about child safety and how to have safe and healthy relationships. What in your mind is the greatest hindrance to people really taking this to heart, all that we've talked about today in terms of places that we meet and how we interact with kids and why it's so important?
Yeah. Chris, one of the biggest obstacles in the church world for child safety is familiarity. And what happens is we feel as though we're familiar with all the people who are working for us and with us. We become familiar with the way things happen. And in this familiarity, what happens is we decide that we don't need to implement all of those best practices. And what happens is that creates an opportunity for, something horrible to happen to a child, yes, but even more likely an accusation to happen, a misunderstanding to happen. So my sincere plea to everybody is, yes, we know that you know your people really well and they know you. So just agree and have everybody watch this episode, and mentors agree that it's okay for your director to be vigilant with these child safety best practices and ask you questions and do interviews and accumulate information. And directors, I want you to break through the feeling that you're going to have as far as, well, I know all my people, I don't need to do this. The reality of it is, yes, you do. It's your responsibility, and it's not because it's something that we want you to do, although we want you to do it. It's for the kids. And I just, again, plead with you. It's for the kids. These best practices will benefit them because it will keep them safe. It will keep your program running really well. And in the course of having a really well-run, well-respected program, lives will change. And Chris, we know that when you change a life,
that's no small change.
Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
you know how in I think it's the April one-on-one, we want to have good ideas for the mentoring
Yeah,
hour?
we've got some that have come in already.
Yeah, but I heard that there's some that probably aren't good ideas.
Yeah.
Have you heard about any of those?
I did. I have a list of those too.
Yeah, which ones did you hear about?
Okay, well, here's one. One idea was to do a community disaster preparedness exercise by pulling the fire alarm,
Yeah,
and seeing the response time from the timing that.
That would be interesting. Learn all about
Community resources.
Yeah,
but probably not a good one
no,
for.
Although you could write a good paper afterwards on that. But
You'd probably have a lot of time to do it
from
too.
the juvenile detention facility. There's also that one that I read that was the science experiment.
Yes.
About water pressure.
I love science.
And propulsion from water pressure.
Yes.
But it involves putting your thumb over the drinking fountain, turning
seeing
it
how
on,
far it
seeing
goes.
how far it goes.
That's just not good.
No,
not good. Another idea that came across that I thought probably isn't quite going to work was to have a scavenger hunt.
Scavenger hunt?
Yeah, by hiding from your teacher.
Oh,
Ooh.
no, not
Probably not. Teachers don't.
good.
They're not going to appreciate that.
No.
Yeah.
And then I heard of one too, is making a paper airplane, unfolding a paper clip, sticking it in the front,
Right.
and using your paper airplane as a dart.
Kind of a dartboard exercise.
Yeah,
Not
that
a
one-
good thing to do.
no.
So we still need some good ideas, Dave,
Yeah, we
because
do.
we don't have enough. So
Yeah.
what should mentors do or directors do if they have great ideas that they've used in the mentoring hour? How should they get them to us?
Well, I think it's simple. They just go to our Facebook page would be the best place to go.
Yeah.
So just go to the Facebook page and share with us a great idea. None of the 4 that we listed or anything like
Yeah.
that. But go to the Facebook page, and then you can also email in here to
Yeah.
the national office.
Right.
And we'll get them up. But so hopefully we'll get a bunch. Let's
I
make
hope
sure
so.
that we remind people.
I hope so.
to-
Okay,
today's broadcast,
yeah,
okay?
don't forget that.